David, Josh, Mahir. What we decided to today in Carley's absence is mix things up a little bit. And because I'm not as good at thinking on my feet, what we've decided to do is gather some questions that we've received from clients over the last 12 months, be they on calls, in email, or in in-person meetings. So we're going to take turns, take a few questions, fire them at you, give you no time to think of an answer, and give us some of your best industry knowledge and feedback. That sound good?
That sounds good. Come on.
All right. Let's go. First one says, we need quick wins for engagement. Any advice? And I am going to send this one to you, Mahir Mirza.
Oh. Okay, I think this one might have come from my emails because I have seen it come up in the last several days. And in terms of quick wins, something that we like to tell our clients is just be as authentic as you can and get out there and trying to steal things from your competitors. Obviously look at competitors, but try to do something a little bit different. Leveraging testimonials, that's a huge one. Okay. It's something we don't actually do as a team at Grey Dog, but you already have so much content just banked there, people who have dealt with you, whether it's directly or indirectly. Just leverage that, and that's really good engagement. We've also had a lot of clients do things with the community, and we find that those posts go quite viral because, again, it's showing that they're not just pushing their product and service and they're not just trying to sell something to you. It's more of, we're part of this community, we're ingrained. So I think trying to balance out as much as you can. Obviously you don't want to go too far into one direction and make it too flowery, and at the same time you don't want it to be too sales heavy either. So whenever you get that balance, that's when we find that the engagement starts to come through quite nicely.
Nice. When you say community content, what kind of thing are you talking about? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, I think sponsoring anything like a local sports team, anything with kids or pets or charities always seems to be good, as long as it can tie back to what you're doing in a sense, whether it's location, whether it's your actual service, not just for the sake of tagging onto everything. I think it can come across a little bit fake if that's what you're doing. So just trying to be authentic and making sure that it can tie back to your actual goals.
Nice, perfect. Should we keep rolling?
Keep rolling.
Do it. All right. Next tiny cue card goes to, if I want to build my audience, but budget is tight, where do I start? David, any thoughts?
I think I've noticed that a lot with dealing with the smaller clients that I work with usually. I think we start off small first and then try and branch out as much as we can, try and build that follower base as much as possible. Over LinkedIn, really, I think that works. Something
else we've done recently with some of our clients is just, if you don't have a persona or audience built, you can start rolling out those organic posts and just really look at the dashboards to see who is engaging with this. You can start looking at their profiles and do a bit of digging yourself and then start to generate personas that way. So what are the titles? What are their industries? Where are they coming from? Who's already following and liking the post?
Of course, yeah.
And then you can build out personas based on those individuals.
Definitely start with their personal profile as well. I think works well, like rolling out what they are first on that and then building it out onto their own page.
So trying to tell their story a little bit.
Yeah, tell their story first from their perspective. If it's one person in the company, if there's many people in the company as well.
Nice.
I've noticed even with one person in it, I think it works really well. Just get out them first, see who's engaged and see who likes it first, and then I think it really moves really well.
And are all the insights that you talked about, are they all there, whether it's, paid social activity you're doing versus organic social activity? Can you glean all that same information from both?
You can definitely get more with paid. You can go granularly to see where your budget has been delivered from an impression share perspective. That's where you can go down to titles, industries, specific countries and locations, whereas the organic side, it's a bit more generalized, but it can still lead you in the right direction before you start building out your paid campaign. So just leveraging that and layering it with all the insights that you have from your organic.
Gotcha. So a lot of the time, if you're starting with a client with no budget, do you think doing the organic work points them in the right direction as to what's going to perform well on paid? Is that what you're trying to achieve?
Yes, it'll give you a bit of an indicator to know that these type of people are already engaging.
Yep.
So likely if you're getting a lookalike audience that's similar to them, they should also be engaging in a similar way. So that's when the test will start.
Nice.
I think we should use the same thing though for organic with paid. Like, should we go with paid first or should it be organic first?
Organic, if your budget is low, organic.
Yeah, budget will be organic straight away and no budget. You shouldn't just go straight in with the paid. Really.
Yeah, unless you've actually identified your personas, there's no point just going broad because you're going to be wasting all your budget just trying to target everyone.
And is that across platforms or is that more in that B2B LinkedIn kind of space?
It'd be more so LinkedIn. So with Meta, you'll have different parameters. You can still dig in on Meta, but it's more around life stages, around, you can still do locations and genders, but in terms of titles and industries, people don't really share all that information on Meta, so you'll have that on LinkedIn.
Gotcha. All right, let's keep moving. Next one says, this is a dealer's choice card. Do we want to explain dealer's choice cards? Are these ones that we've thrown in the pot?
I think dealer's choice just means you can ask whatever you want.
Okay, perfect. Maybe we'll edit that bit out. Okay, one thing, Josh, that you hate seeing when on holidays.
That's a real curveball.
You thought it was an events question.
Oh God, I don't know. People who reserve sunbeds, who don't even stick around the pool.
Definitely person with the towel on.
Yeah, like the ones that get up 6 a.m. and then they go away for the day.
Go away for the day then, and they leave the towel there. I think really early in the morning, all those people start running
Can't be having
around and
that.
trying putting their towels
Sounds
by the pool.
personal.
It's getting personal now at this
How
point.
has that not been outlawed at this stage?
I don't know,
I think
but it's
some-
still been seen in Benidorm, I think, that.
Some resorts, I think, do it, and they have the signs up, but I don't know how heavily they enforce it.
Okay.
I just love how you guys have been really dove into your questions with just such amazing precision. What whatever your respective fields, and I hate sunbeds.
Yeah.
I have been taking
It's so
quite
relevant to the
well.
conversation.
Thank you all for your input.
Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. Okay, let's keep moving then. Let's see. Josh, I'm going to keep it with you. How has the event space changed in the last few years?
I would definitely say it's harder to keep people's attention. I think post-COVID, there's a lot more emphasis on shortening down plenary sessions and trying to keep engagement within the room and within a space. I think there was many times before in past jobs that I've had where we would do multi-day conferences, and I think the days of multi-day conferences, unless they're kind of those colossal exhibition style, you'd have in the Excel Centre in London, for the 2 to 500 delegate ratio in terms of that 9 to 5 day, keeping people for more than 48 hours and concentrating on specific forms of content is really difficult. So
Why do you think that's shifted?
I definitely think social media has had a lot to do with it. I think the way we absorb information now and the way that we are looking at our phones more. I mean, I think, and I wouldn't want to single out one particular platform, but if I was to say anything, I'd say TikTok has definitely destroyed or is destroying attention spans. I can't say that it hasn't done the same thing for myself, not that I have a bad attention span, but I definitely do find myself looking at media and content, and I think, as you mentioned before at one stage, that if something doesn't grab you from a marketing perspective within the first 3 seconds, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to see it. So, and I think that carries across a lot into the live setting. So now we've got shorter sessions instead of an hour. Maybe we do 45 minutes. People want to network more. They want to speak to each other more. They want to be
more, probably.
Food more. Well, that's it. It's engaging organically and naturally rather than. We did have a conversation the other day about different people's interests and let's say everyone's there for the same specific conference, but there's a panel of 6 speakers on, and some person is not particularly interested in that speaker or those speakers. They'll have a wavering attention span. Whereas if you've got a decent keynote in there, that will grab attention for if they're speaking to, I don't know, whatever sort of subject that they're talking to, and it'll keep people's attention that lot longer. But I do definitely think that attention span is.
And if you think people are on their phones during those sessions, is there any way you can kind of use that?
Well, yeah, so there's the launching now of event apps. So this is
QR codes
the
as well,
QR
probably.
codes.
Yeah.
You've got Slido up there. You've got people, even the people on stage trying to keep engagement with those in the crowd. And it could be every 10 or 15 minutes. Oh, the QR code's up there now. Scan the QR code and we'll answer a question. And that actually keeps the interactivity and keeps people engaged. And I think that is also really important, because sitting there for 45 minutes to an hour listening to people talk about a subject that people who are attending the events are probably already well versed in, they just want to get a different perspective or a different opinion, can sometimes be a bit, well, I wouldn't use the word boring, but it could be a bit lethargic for them to kind of see. So them having an input or an interaction with a specific panel is definitely.
So I think a lot of it comes down to having a good moderator on stage as well.
That's
If
very
it's a
true.
panel, and we've seen the likes of live audience polls perform very well, for example. And if there's 2 or 3 of those scattered in a 40-minute in a 40-minute panel, then it really helps to keep audience members engaged. The other like that, and that's I suppose embracing the whole people are gonna have their phone in their hand anyway.
Yeah,
But it's a little bit like going back to being in school. There's a lot of power in a keynote getting on stage and saying, I'm only here for 10 minutes. Can I ask everyone to mute their phones and put them in their pocket? And you'd be shocked at the difference of how many people you have sitting in the audience just scrolling blindly while these things are going on, just from asking the question. So it's, a strong keynote or a strong moderator, I've seen it really help. I read a stat the other day about, loosely tied to attention spans, but that the average working human now switches tasks every 47 seconds. Where they come up with these stats, I've no idea.
I'm not sure where they get them from.
I completely made it up. No, I didn't. But part of it's true, and I see it with myself. Like the amount of times I switch an app on my computer when I'm doing I'm doing work, and that I don't know. Are we just getting like more and more useless and dim as a
Switching
species,
between tasks, so do we think that's like a good thing to be doing, or do you think you should like have one task and then do that?
Yeah, that's a good.
I don't know,
Are we
my
getting
brain
better at multitasking?
I think probably actually becoming more efficient, because people who have those short attention spans don't want to do the one task for very long. They're going to find the
This
quickest.
sounds like me. Is that weird?
Well, I don't think so.
Why is everyone looking at David?
I mean, as long as your work is up to
It's not
scratch,
me.
I think that totally keeps it fair. No, I definitely think that people are probably becoming more efficient.
Yeah.
Like, and they
To be able to
definitely-
switch and keep the momentum every time you switch back,
Like, I mean, just me in particular, the way I work and the way you know as well, is if I'm working on something and you send me a Slack and you say, can you just get this done? I'll be, I'm going to do it right now. Like, I will switch to that task.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
I do that as well. Yeah.
Just because I want to get that done so I can go back to, the main train. But that's, again, but everyone is different.
Yeah. Do you think I would endeavour to say that if we went home tonight and somebody asked us, what did you do today? I think the population of 2026 find that question much more difficult to answer than our parents' generations might have.
Yeah.
And maybe it's down to this.
Jobs are more simple though, probably then as well.
Or you stick with a single job for longer. Like this switching tasks every 47 seconds. So what did I do today? I don't know. Loads. Lots of different stuff. But I can't tell you what it was. I didn't spend 2 hours on a single task.
No.
And I wonder is that why? So thanks for not naming a platform, but it's TikTok's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay, cool.
definitely.
You've got it.